Hello everyone, welcome to new episode of Know Your Career. Here we interact with different professionals in order to understand their career better and so that you can take an informed decision regarding your career. So today we have Mr. Abhishek, who is a remote desktop engineer working in NCR Corporation. So he is going to share his experience with us. So hello Abhishek, welcome.
Hello Asif. So how are you today?
Yeah, I'm fine. So Abhishek, just give a brief introduction about your profile to our audience. What is a remote desktop engineer?
Remote desktop engineer is you can say level 2 or level 3 level engineer in desktop support field. It mostly deals with the users of an MNC in troubleshooting in their systems related to their maybe Outlook or some other application, or mostly nowadays company prefer using VPNs rather than open network to keep their data secure. VPN is mostly their intranet, or we can say it is the personal internet for that company. So we are the people who handle the VPN. We are the person who troubleshoot on this VPN.
Okay, fine. So most of our audience consist of the students of 10th and 12th standard. So they would like to know what are the necessary qualifications required to be a remote desktop engineer. What path they should take after 10th standard?
Well, as related to the students, I'll just say that you can get a job as a desktop support engineer, which is the level 1 post in the IT field in hardware networking and troubleshooting, in which field I am. You can get a job after 12th, but for achieving good position or moving to the higher posts in the same field to the desktop level, or from desktop level to remote level, then there is a network level team, and then we have admin level team. We have different levels to achieve the higher posts. We have to every company needs a graduate or postgraduate person so that he has a better knowledge in that field.
So would that be better option if they opt for computer science in engineering branch?
Yeah, it is a very good option, but mostly if you see the curriculum of any computer science, IT and engineering, you will see there is more software part, coding part rather than hardware and networking. There is only one subject which will tell you related to the networking, which is operating systems. It will have the basics of networking, and other is data communication, which is DCN, data communication systems. And the other thing which is they'll have different types of programming languages, which is not required to be a desktop support engineer. So if anyone, and the other thing is, if you are trying to be a desktop support engineer, then I'll prefer if you will do a certification from a private institute, like we have JetKing, we have Konak, we have different institutes. It will be better if you do certification, because then you will have a professionalism plus a certificate in that course and in that field, so that you can show to the company that yes, I have achieved something, that's why I'm eligible for this job.
Okay, fine. Just tell us about your journey, how you ended up being a remote desktop engineer. What was your motivation behind? What are the causes that you ended up in this career?
So from childhood only, I was very keen about computers, technology and smartphone. So I opted computer science, thinking that it will boost my knowledge in the same thing. But when I opted for computer science, that time I came across different subjects. I learned many different things, through which I understood that programming is a very interesting part of IT sector, but I'm not interested in that. So I just completed my graduation and opted for desktop support course from one of the reputed institute, which is JetKing. And after that, from there I got placed in one company which was almost at the very lowest wages if we compare to the IT sector. And as I was on the third party in IT sector, no company will come and hire you as a on-roll employee and tell you, yeah, let's come from tomorrow and start working if you are doing desktop support course. Yeah, if you have done BTech or BE, then there are chances that you will get. But doing
So
certifications,
it was a third party employment.
Yeah. So every desktop engineer has to go from this phase. He has to struggle in starting with the third party employments, and they may also face different challenges that they are not getting wages. So before joining any third party, they have to look all the background related to this. Or what I have learned is, you cannot just listen to someone and get the feedback, no, this third party is very nice, you will get paid at a times and everything. There is nothing like that. Everyone experience is different with the third parties. As I was doing course from the institute, I made many friends, almost 40 to 50 friends from the JetKing institute. We used to be in a group. So we all were placed in different companies, and some of the friends were in the same company or were working for the same third party employment team. So we in different companies. So we came to know that, yeah, some people faced problem with that team, that third party employment. They were not getting wages at the time, but some were not facing that problem. This all things are related to the fact that in which company you are getting placed from that third party. If he is placing you in an MNC, then no doubt he has to pay every month on the time to you. But if he is placing to you any small sector or small companies which are local or which is not a most reputed MNC, then they will treat you like a slave.
Okay. Like they'll make you work day and night and will pay you very merely, very less salary.
No, they will pay you, but it's not confirmed when you will get your salary.
Okay.
I have seen people working for 3 months continuously, and after 3 months they are getting paid for whole 3 months at a time. But what about those 3 days? You have to travel every day. If you are traveling, you have your
you have to manage expenses.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I have also faced. Yeah.
So my next question was like, what is the initial salary expectations that a fresher should have while working as a remote desktop engineer?
As I said that everyone is not as lucky as I am, that in the first job itself was as a remote desktop engineer for me in another company, which was Marsh & McLennan, where I worked as a remote desktop engineer plus server engineer plus client engineer. So I was handling 3 posts at a time. So the minimum wage should be 10,000. There are many third companies they'll start saying, no, we cannot pay you this much, you are fresher, you will get only 6,000 or 8,000 or 9,000. I'll say, if any third party says this, technician should, or the student should, or I will say engineer, because now he is trained and he is having certificate, we'll call him engineer. So engineer should reject that offer. there are chances that there may be no offers to that person and he is in need of the job, but still I'll say he should reject that offer, because third party are the people, then they'll try to make you work for the lowest wage you can work for.
Okay, fine. Just assume that you are explaining your job role to a 10th standard student who has
Yeah.
not much of a technical background, technical knowledge, and so explain what are the daily activities that you need to do in your job.
Yeah, the daily activity, one thing is communication skills, because and you should be a good listener,
Okay.
because you should be able to interact to the person if he's saying, oh my god, my system is not working, and you should be able to understand that what is not working. So even if the person is getting mad or is not in good mood or not able to talk to you because his system is not working and he has some urgent meetings, so most of the time it happens, users start shouting that my system is not working, troubleshoot it. We are the person who have to make them calm down and ask them very nicely that what problem he or she is facing with her system. There must be no problem, only there must be a issue with the performance. His system must be getting overheated, or it must be having many temporary files due to which his system is not performing well. So most of the time it happens, we just ask user to reboot system or clear the temp files, or we take remote and delete the temp files, and system starts performing well, and the user gets happy and starts apologizing for his behavior which he behaved first. So we have to be patient.
Okay. So Abhishek, just explain a typical day in the life of a remote desktop engineer. What do you do from morning to evening?
Okay, if you are a field engineer, I'll start from the field engineer, because these are the people which are on the level 1. So every person who is trying to come to desktop engineer, he has to be prepared that he one or the other day he'll have to work in the field in the starting, or if he's not working on the field, he'll have to work on the hardware. He cannot directly jump to the remote level. If the person is very lucky like me, who got chance to work on the remote on his first job itself, then it's very good thing. So if he is on the field, he has to be prepared that anything can come to him related to the computers for troubleshooting. He has to be good in hardware, he has to be good with OS installation, operating system installation. He has to be good with the knowledge of operating system, mostly Windows, because in India we prefer using Windows operating system rather than Mac or Linux. So he has to be master in Windows operating system. He should know where are the temporary files, or if user is downloading something, where will these download files move. So he should be good in troubleshooting with operating system Windows.
Okay, so can you throw some light on what are the various technologies that remote desktop engineers use in order to connect with the desktop or computer which is far away, in a far away location?
Yeah, that is a very good question, Asif. So mostly we don't prefer using open source softwares, as we are working for an organization, and nowadays information is more precious than human life for any organization. And you must be knowing that companies even ask people to leave their jobs if they leak any organizational data, or they keep any data of organization to them, without informing the organization. So most of the time companies use softwares like Damware, or we say log me in, which is log me in rescue session, because these are the softwares which only work in the intranet, which is company's personal internet.
Yes, yes.
If they are connected to the company's domain, only then they'll be able to take the remote.
Okay. So like what will happen in the case like the if the system of the user is totally crashed and he is not able to connect to the internet, so is there any
So
possible way you can fix that?
you mean to say that his system is working, he is not able to connect to the internet?
No,
Am I
no, no,
correct?
his system is not starting, the desktop is not loading and he is not able
Yeah.
to connect the internet, so how in that case
Okay.
how you can resolve his problem?
Okay. This is a bit tricky because here we will be the only person who can instruct the user to perform some steps, and user have to perform them correctly. So the first thing, nowadays mostly every MNC prefer laptops. So
Yeah.
first thing we'll check whether he's able to charge his laptop, because in most cases it happens that user connects the charger to the laptop but forgets to turn on the power switch of the power adapter, due to which there is no current, and if laptop's battery is drained, laptop won't turn on.
Okay, okay. So can you
So
give us some
so
yeah, yeah, say.
yeah, I mean, you are trying to say, can you give an example? How will you troubleshoot it?
Yes.
So imagine you are a user and you have called me related to a same issue, that your system is not booting up in the sense turning on.
Yeah.
So first thing that I'll ask you is whether you have connected the charger. If you say yes, then I'll say, see that there is an adapter in the charger. See whether any light is blinking or is there any bulb glowing over there. The answer depends totally on my other question will totally depend on your answer. So please answer me. Is there any bulb glowing on the adapter of your laptop?
Okay, okay. So yeah, I got it. So in this way you solve the problem of the user.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. So my next question is like, can you give us some tips like what we can do in order to maintain the health of our system so that it suffers minimum crashes?
So the biggest tip is you should always turn off your system by clicking on shutdown button. Most of the people, what they do is they directly turn off their system by the power button,
Okay, okay.
due to which what happens, there are many processes running in the background of your system. So every time you do this, some of the processes get stuck, and which may lead to hardware crash or a hard disk crash, or will corrupt your operating system's file. So it becomes a problematic for us also, not only for user but for us also, when user is on the remote desktop and we have to re-image or reinstall operating system on the user system, because we cannot do anything from here. We can only instruct the person, and we have to trust the user that yes, he is performing the correct steps, because he's saying that he has done it. And there are users I have came across that there are users, they'll not do anything and they'll say, yes, I have done this step, I have performed this, it's not booting up. So we have to deal with such people also.
Okay. So in this career, what are the growth prospects? What are the higher levels you go in your organization after the remote desktop engineer?
So after remote desktop engineer, well, if your organization is good, or I may say your relation with your superiors is good, and you have made a rapport, so you can go to any level like manager level or TL level. If you are a team leader, then there are many different types of things that you have to manage. Like you have to look after whole of your team, that everyone is performing well, no one is having any issues, and everyone is coming on time, logging in time, logging out in time. Or if anyone is having health issue, then you will have to manage the team, that due to because one person is down, your team's performance should not be affected. So there are many different things that you have to do when you go to the higher posts.
And okay, sir, good. It was a good answer. So, my next question is how are the average? What are the average working hours, and your opinion on the work-life balance in your career?
Well, if you are a desktop support engineer, field engineer, or a site engineer, which is level 1 and level 2, most of the time your shift time will be 9 to 6, 9 to 10 hours. But if yes, you are a remote level engineer, TL, or server engineer, network engineer, then also your shift time will be of 9 hours, 9 to 10 hours. But it will be a not fixed time that from 9 to 6 you have to work. There will be a rotational shifts, because these are the people who have to be active 24/7.
Okay.
So every 9 hours shift changes, every month shift changes.
Okay.
Because we cannot keep a person working in night shift for whole year, then it will affect his health also.
Okay. So as far as I know you, Abhishek, you also have a hobby of gaming and streaming streaming live on YouTube. So how you
Yes.
manage time to follow your hobbies?
So what I did was, last year I was not working. I took a break of a year in my career, which I should not have been taken, but due to some of the
Unavoidable
problems I had
circumstances.
to take, so I took a break. At that time I was sitting at home, I was able to do anything. So I mean, my productivity was zero. So, and we all have internets at our home nowadays. So I thought, I love gaming from childhood, so why not start a YouTube channel? So I started my YouTube channel, and I had minimum resources for starting the YouTube channel in the starting. So I started, I said, many of my friends said that you don't have resources, and who will watch your outdated gameplays and other things. I said, no worries, we have to start from somewhere. So I started from some old games, and slowly I'm upgrading my system and coming to the updated games and latest games, and I'm still in the way.
So my question was how you manage your time for your hobbies along with your job.
So what I do is, I used to stream daily because I used to stay at home and I was free. But now, as I have to do work of my office, and the other thing is, because of this COVID-19, we all have to work from home. So sitting at a place for more 9 hours or 10 hours is a bit difficult. So nowadays I only stream on Saturdays and Sundays when I have leave, or as I said that I'm on the rotational shift. So whenever I get week offs, I start streaming on those days.
Okay, okay, okay. Our next question I would like to ask is what is the most interesting part of your job?
The most interesting part of my job is that I am working in the field which I am interested. The first thing, which will make it, which is the most important part and most interesting part,
You love computers.
according to me, because I love working with computers. I know I love troubleshooting in the computers. This is the webcam, or else I must have shown that still my system is, I have kept open. Every part is spread out in my room.
Okay.
I never assemble my system.
Achha.
So, and the other thing is that I make communications with different people of the different countries. I come to know about different countries while troubleshooting with them, because while I'm on call with the user and troubleshooting, and most of the time it happens while troubleshooting, there are the times where we have to reboot system twice or thrice. So at that time, we can, if the user is in good mood, or if user it gets the trust that yeah, this is the person who can troubleshoot my system and can fix my system, so he start talking about here and there, what's about India, what's happening in India. The same thing I ask with the person. So what if the person is from Serbia, I start asking how is the climate in Serbia or different things. And it
Yes.
happens that most of the time we get call from the juniors who have just joined IT sector. So they call us and ask us for help related to the VPN which we are using. VPN, I already said, it is the any company's internal internet. So troubleshooting related to that, we have to explain them that what we are doing. And most of the time now, what IT companies are doing now, being in the lockdown, is they are training their every user for small troubleshootings which can be performed on user end, so that the call rates get decreased. So we have to explain them everything very nicely. And then other thing is, we get appreciated from the users give the feedback related to our performance. So it is very satisfying that you get an email from your superior or TL or SME or anyone from the higher post that yeah, this person has emailed regarding you and he was greeting you that you have performed very well and helped you that person in troubleshooting and explained him that what problem he was facing and why he was facing, so that he can avoid that problem in the future.
Okay. So there are quite a few interesting things happening in your career. And
Yeah.
so next question I would like to ask is what is the most boring part of your job?
Most boring part is that I have to sit in one place working continuously looking at my desktop. This is only the boring part, because
So,
you let it be, you are interested in anything, you love it, but if you do it continuously, it becomes boring at a time.
yes, it's a normal
Sometimes you
human
get,
tendency.
yeah, sometimes you feel like, come on yaar, I need a break now.
Yes.
So
I need
it
to do
happens.
something different.
Yes.
Okay, fine. So, like any advice you want to give to young people who are in love, who have love for computers, technology, etc., and who are working as a computer science engineer? Any advice you want to give to them?
Yeah, mostly I have seen people, those who avoid desktop support post, because desktop support is the post where you have to listen to the user, what problem he or she is facing, and trust her trust his or her words and then provide troubleshooting. Because in this scenario, we don't get a physical computer in front of us to troubleshoot. So we'll have to think that what can we do remotely? How can I help user remotely? The biggest challenge for a remote desktop engineer is that he have to ask user to provide the remote access if system is working. And as I said, that I have to, if I need I'm using logme in software, so I'm sure that users don't have this software installed into their system. So I'll have to ask them to go to the website which is logmein123.com. But what user will reply to this, do you know?
Yeah.
Sorry, what did you say? 123.com? No, it's not 123.com. It is logmein123.com. So can you please repeat it? I'm not able to hear you. There are some users, they will ask you and irritate you by themselves to see how much patience do we have. So we have to keep our minds calm with these users, because at the end our performance is counted on the feedbacks which we receive.
So it was a nice session with you, Abhishek. So thank you for joining with us, and you have shared a lot of information with our audience. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Asif.